A gunshot victim arrived without a name. They crashed through the doors of San Moro Hospital at 2:13 a.m. Two men in black suits, faces hard, hands gloved, surrounding the rolling gurney like shadows. The nurses froze. The air smelled of rain, antiseptic, and fresh blood. Dr. Amelia Rossi tightened her ponytail and stepped forward, masking the flicker of unease in her brown eyes. "OR is ready," she said. "What's the patient's name?" A taller man's gaze swept the corridor. "He doesn't have one tonight, Dottoressa." "That's not how medicine works," she snapped. The man leaned in, voice low. "You want the truth?" His lips barely moved. "If you know his name, you're already dead." For a beat, Amelia's heart tripped. The hospital lights hummed overhead, too bright, too white. Still, she straightened her shoulders. "Age?" She tried again, slipping into clinical mode. "Allergies? Medical history?" 32. "No allergies we know of. Medical history." The man's eyes flickered, like he was watching a distant explosion. "You don't want to know." They pushed the gurney into the OR. The patient lay unconscious, shirt cut open, blood blooming across his chest like a dark rose. His face was pale, sharp-boned, a shadow of stubble lining his jaw. Even under the harsh lights, he looked dangerous, gorgeous in a cruel way. Amelia swallowed. BP? 90/60. Dropping. She glanced at his wrist. A tattoo peeked out from beneath the dried blood, an inked crown entwined with a serpent. Her lungs turned to ice. She'd seen that symbol before, years ago, in a police file she wasn't supposed to read. The crest of the Moretti Familia, the most feared mafia syndicate in southern Italy. Her father's voice echoed in her head. "Stay away from men with serpents and crowns, Amelia. They don't forgive. They erase." "Scalpel," she said calmly, though her fingers trembled as she took it. The surgery was brutal. The bullet had lodged near the lung, grazing a rib, flirting with catastrophe. She worked in silence, sweat beading at her temples, the scrub nurse passing instruments with mechanical precision. Outside, the men in black waited like watchdogs. "Who exactly is he?" one of the nurses whispered. "Someone we don't talk about," another answered. When Amelia finally removed the bullet, relief washed over her, until the patient's hand jerked. His eyes shot open, green, deep dark green, the color of expensive wine and old sins. They locked onto Amelia's face with terrifying clarity. Air left her lungs. His voice was a rasp, but the authority in it was unmistakable. "Everyone out, except her." The nurse hesitated. Amelia forced her voice into steel. "He's in no condition to." The man in the suit stepped inside, hand brushing his jacket, over a gun. "You heard him." Slowly, the others filed out. The OR doors shushed closed, leaving Amelia alone with the bleeding kingpin. Because that was what he was. She knew it in her bones now. He watched her, gaze tracing her mask, her eyes, the slight scar at her jawline from a childhood fall. His lips curled. "Amelia Rossi," he said. Her blood turned to ice. "We haven't been introduced." "I don't need introductions." His voice was low, amused, like he was talking about the weather, instead of his own open chest. "Besides, I remember faces. Especially the ones that tried to destroy me." Her breath hitched. "I saved your life. Tonight." He winced as he shifted, ignoring the monitors. "But 6 months ago, you handed my shipment's location to the police." Her mind scrambled. 6 months ago, she had reported a suspicious warehouse she kept passing on her way home. Men with guns, crates moved at midnight. She'd told herself it was nothing. She'd told herself she was just being a good citizen. Apparently, she had been a very successful one. "I didn't know it was yours," she said hoarsely. "Doesn't matter." His eyes glittered with something dark. "You cost me millions. You got good men killed. And yet," he glanced at his bandaged chest, "here you are, stitching me back together like a little saint." He reached up suddenly, fast for someone who'd just come off the table, and grabbed her wrist. Amelia froze. "You made a mistake," he murmured. "Two of them, actually." Her pulse thundered in her ears. "Let go. First, you interfered in my business." His fingers tightened. "Second, you let my heart start beating again." She scoffed, trying to pull away. "That's literally my job." His eyes darkened, a dangerous humor flickering there. "Now it's more than that, Dotteressa." The OR doors burst open. The tall bodyguard stepped in, gun now visible. "Boss, cops are circling. We need to move you, now." Amelia blinked. "Boss?" The patient. No, the kingpin didn't look away from her. "Get me out." "And the doctor?" the guard asked. For half a second, she thought they'd leave her in peace. Then those deep green eyes hardened with decision. "Bring her too," he said. "She's coming with us." Amelia's stomach dropped. "Absolutely not. You saved my life tonight," he cut in, voice suddenly vicious, the softness gone. "That means your life belongs to me, until I decide I'm done with it." He finally released her wrist, only for the guard to grab her from behind. A cloth covered her mouth, soaked in something sharp and chemical. The world spun, smeared whiteness, and green eyes, and the faint beeping of monitors. The last thing she saw before darkness swallowed her was his gaze, fixed on her, like a claim. Alessio Moretti, the name formed in her fading mind. The Mafia Kingpin her father had once hunted. The man whose organization she'd accidentally wounded. The ghost behind every rumor in Naples' underworld. And now, the man who had just stolen her from her own life. Amelia woke to the scent of salt and leather, not antiseptic, not hospital floors and cheap coffee. The ceiling above her was carved wood, not panels of buzzing fluorescent lights. Light filtered in through linen curtains, tinted gold by the rising sun. She sat up too fast. Her head pounded. Where? The room was large, luxurious in a cold, masculine way. Dark floors, high ceiling, tall windows overlooking water. The sea, endless and silver blue, crashed against jagged cliffs below. This wasn't Naples. This was removed, hidden, a fortress. The door opened. The same tall man from the hospital filled the doorway, now without a mask. His hair was close-cropped, jaw dusted with stubble. His eyes flicked over her, checking, evaluating. "You're awake," he said. "Good." Amelia clenched the sheets to her chest. "I want to leave." "That's not up to you." "Then who is it up to?" she snapped. He stepped aside. Alessio Moretti walked in like he owned the air. He was dressed this time, a black dress shirt open at the throat, sleeves rolled up, chest bandaged beneath. Even injured, his presence filled the room, swallowing light. His green eyes skimmed her hospital scrubs, her bare feet on the polished floor, her strained posture. "Get her clothes," he told the man. "She won't be operating in those rags again." "I'm not operating on you at all," Amelia said. "Kidnapping a doctor doesn't guarantee loyalty. It guarantees lawsuits and prison." His lips quirked. "Do you think people like me care about prison, Dotteressa?" "Clearly not, because you keep ending up on my table." He almost smiled at that, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Sit." "I'm not a dog." "No." He tilted his head, studying her. "More like a cat, soft until scratched." His gaze sharpened. "Sit, Amelia." It wasn't the word that made her obey. It was the weight behind it, that subtle promise of consequences. She perched on the edge of the bed, chin lifted. He walked to the window, looking out at the sea. "You saved my life. For that, your father would have thanked you." She went still. "You know my father? Inspector Marco Rossi?" Alessio's reflection smirked in the glass. "We danced for years. He chased me. I let him think he was close. I almost missed him when he died." Her fingers dug into the bedsheets. "He died in a car accident. Is that what lets you sleep at night?" Her throat went dry. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying." He turned, eyes cruelly amused. "You have more reasons to hate me, than you even realized when you ran to the police with that little warehouse tip. The room tilted. You killed him. I removed an obstacle. His tone was flat. He chose his war. I chose mine. Amelia surged to her feet. The tall man stepped forward instinctively, but Alessio lifted a hand and he stopped. Amelia's heart hammered so hard she felt sick. Why bring me here then? Why not let me die with him? Because I'm not done, Alessio said simply. He came closer, slow but sure, like a predator unused to being denied. You put a hole in my chest and a hole in my operations. You cost me a lieutenant, 3 associates, and $2 million in product. You're a problem, Amelia. But last night, you also put your hands inside my body and pulled me back from the dark. He stopped in front of her, close enough that she could smell his cologne, something smoky and expensive. I don't let problems like you walk away, he murmured. I keep them where I can see them. She met his gaze, anger burning away her fear. You think enslaving me will fix your ego? His eyes glinted. No, but it will fix my chest. A bitter laugh bubbled up. What do you expect from me? You will be my personal physician, he said. You will monitor my recovery, treat my wounds, manage my medications. You will be on call for my men. You will not contact the police. You will not try to escape. And if I refuse? He stepped past her, to the bedside table. A folder lay there, thick, familiar. He tossed it onto the bed. Her medical license. Her throat constricted as she flipped through it, fingers shaking. Copies of her credentials, her employment contract, her ID. Photos of her apartment building, her younger cousin leaving for school, her mother visiting the gravesite in the rain. You've been watching me, she whispered. Long before you knew my name, Alessio said. Your father made you a target, Amelia. Not because of what he did to me, but because of what he did to you. He taught you to be brave, to meddle. His eyes cooled. Bravery is expensive. I decided to cash in. Tears pricked at her eyes, hot and unwanted. So this is what? Punishment? This is control. He leaned close, voice soft and deadly. You're going to fix what you broke. You're going to keep me alive. And in return. His gaze dropped briefly to her lips, then back up. Your family stays untouched. Your cousin finishes school. Your mother keeps bringing flowers to the grave without anyone following her home. Her stomach twisted. Her choices shrank to a pinpoint. You're a monster, she said quietly. Monsters don't usually bother with deals, he replied. I'm offering you one. Be grateful. She wanted to say no, wanted to spit in his face, tear up the license, hurl herself out the window into the sea below. Instead, she heard her own voice, low and broken. I'll treat you, she said, but I will never belong to you. His smile was small, almost gentle. We'll see, Dottoressa, Alessio murmured. People say all sorts of things before they fall. As he left the room, the guard lingered. Name's Luca, he said gruffly. You'll see me around. I won't be staying, she replied. He gave a short, humorless laugh. Everyone says that too. The door clicked shut, and Amelia stood alone in the gilded prison, staring at her own reflection in the glass. Outside, the sea roared against the cliffs. Inside, she made a silent promise. I will save you, Alessio Moretti. She thought coldly. And then I will be the one to destroy you. Days in the Moretti villa fell into a strange, suffocating rhythm. Emilio learned the pattern of footsteps in the hall, the heavy boots of guards, the brisk tap of maids, the soft, measured tread she came to dread and anticipate equally, Alessio's. She treated his wound with professional detachment, changing dressings, monitoring vitals, insisting on rest he didn't want to take. He argued. She stood her ground, and slowly, grudgingly, he obeyed. You're infuriating, he muttered one morning when she blocked him from getting out of bed. You were shot in the chest, she said. Sit down or I'll sedate you. His eyes sparked, half amused, half annoyed. You threaten me a lot for someone in your position. I'm your doctor, she retorted. You brought me here for my skills, not my obedience. He studied her, lips twitching. You'd be surprised how often those two overlap in my world. She tried not to show the shiver that crawled down her spine. At night, when the villa quieted and the sea turned black outside the windows, Emilia counted her breaths and planned her betrayal. The first step came by accident. She was in the small medical room Alessio had prepared for her, stocked with equipment that definitely didn't come through legal channels, when she noticed the landline phone in the corner. Old, dusty, almost decorative. Her heart stuttered. Phones were monitored in places like this. They had to be. But still. She drifted closer, hand hovering over the receiver. Thinking of ordering a pizza? A dried voice asked. She spun around. Luca leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. I thought you knocked, she snapped. I did. You were too busy planning a crime. His gaze dropped to the phone. That line is secure. Her pulse leaped. Secure how? Secure as in not connected to the outside world. He shrugged. Boss isn't stupid. A bitter laugh escaped her. Of course he isn't. Luca's eyes narrowed, watching her too closely. You hate him. Do you expect me to like my kidnapper? I expect you to want to survive. He pushed off the frame. Here's some survival advice. Stop looking for exits that aren't there. It makes people nervous. When he left, Emilia sank into the nearest chair. No phones, no internet, no way out. Until she remembered the night shift, not at the villa, at the hospital, Dr. Ricci, her colleague, the last person she spoke to before the men in black arrived. Text me when you're done saving the mystery man, he joked. She hadn't, which meant, right now, he was probably worried. Calling her, maybe even calling the police. The idea of someone looking for her sparked a dangerous hope. She needed a way to reach them. If not through the villa's systems, then through the people who came and went. Her chance came 3 days later, when a wounded soldier was brought in. Not a literal soldier, a Moretti soldier. A young man named Nino, with a sliced forearm and a panicked look. It's nothing, he insisted, though the cut was deep. Just a message, that's all. A message from who? Emilia asked, disinfecting the wound. His eyes darted to Luca, who stood in the corner. Luca shook his head almost imperceptibly. Nino clamped his mouth shut. Their world ran on secrets. Fine, so did she. She stitched the wound quickly, professionally. Nino winced, but didn't complain. You're good, he muttered when she finished. I know, she said. Hold still while I bandage you. As she wrapped his arm, her fingers brushed his hand. Calloused, rough, trembling slightly. Do you have a phone? She asked quietly, keeping her head down so Luca couldn't see her lips. Nino tensed. She tightened the bandage just enough to make him hiss. Do you want this to heal or not? His voice was barely audible. What do you want a phone for? She swallowed. To let my mother know I'm alive. It wasn't entirely a lie. He hesitated. I can't. I saved your arm, she murmured. I could have slipped, hit a nerve. You'd never hold a gun again. His eyes widened. You wouldn't. I didn't, she said. Because I'm not like you. She met his gaze, letting him see the desperation she usually hid. But I need help. One call. Anonymous. I just need to send a message, for my family. The room felt too quiet. Luca's presence pressed against her back like a weight. Nino swallowed. I'll see what I can do. He left without promising anything. But that night, Emilia found a cheap burner phone under her pillow, wrapped in gauze. Her hands shook as she unwrapped it. One bar of signal. One chance. She typed fast, heart racing. 2. Unknown police tip line. This is about Moretti. He is alive. Hiding in a coastal villa near Salerno. Cliffs. Private dock. We'll send more later. There was no going back now. She erased the sent message from the phone, then typed another. this time to a private number she'd memorized long ago. Inspector DeLuca, her father's old colleague. He killed my father. I'm inside now. She hovered over the send button. If she sent this, she became more than a kidnapped doctor. She became a spy, a traitor in the enemy's bedrock. It was what her father would have wanted. Emilia hit send. The phone buzzed almost immediately with a reply. Who is this? Her fingers flew. His daughter. She deleted everything, powered the phone off, and shoved it back under the pillow, just as someone knocked. Come in, she called, voice steadier than she felt. Alessio stepped into the room. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Had he seen? Had he? He tossed a file onto the desk. Test results. Emilia blinked. What? You said you needed more information about my prior injuries. He shoved his hands into his pockets, jaw tight. I had my people dig up what they could from old hospitals. You're in charge now. Use it. Professional distance. Medicine. This, she understood. She flipped through the file, forcing her mind to focus on the words, not the burner phone behind her back. Old broken ribs, a knife wound, a concussion, a note about an arrhythmia that resolved. She looked up. You've been shot twice before. 3 times, he corrected. One never made it onto paper. You keep getting lucky. He smiled without warmth. I'd prefer to think I make my own luck. Their eyes met. For a moment, something like curiosity passed between them. Not trust. Never that. But an awareness that felt almost intimate. Emilia broke it first, abrupt. You need more rest. And less stress. Your heart. My heart is fine, he cut in. It's you I'm starting to worry about. Her pulse spiked. What? You don't eat much. You barely sleep. He stepped closer, searching her face. And you look at the sea like you're trying to decide if it would catch you or swallow you. Her throat went dry. If he searched my room, if he checked the bed. You're my asset, Dottoressa. His voice softened in a way that made it worse. I can't afford you breaking. I'm not your anything, she said. He studied her, head tilting. You can keep saying that, but every time you fix my heartbeat. His gaze dropped briefly to her hands. You tie yourself closer to it. When he left, Emilia sagged against the desk, the file open under her palms. She had done it. She had invited the wolves to the door. Now she just had to survive long enough to watch them tear him apart. The response from the outside world came faster than she expected. 2 nights after she sent the message, the atmosphere in the villa changed. The air felt sharper. Conversations cut off when Emilia entered a room. Guards moved more frequently, patrolling the cliffside with nervous energy. At breakfast, Alessio scanned his phone with a frown, thumb moving over the screen. What is it? Luca asked. The police have new information, Alessio said. They're sniffing around my old dock again. Someone told them I was seen there last week. Emilia's blood ran cold. They moved too fast. She'd hoped for time, for DeLuca to plan. Instead, they were already reacting, clumsy and loud. Could be coincidence, Luca said. Could be, Alessio agreed, though his eyes were distant, calculating. Or it could be that someone is whispering who shouldn't be. His gaze swept the room. Nino shifted in his seat. Emilia picked up her coffee to hide the tremor in her hands. Alessio's lips curved, humorless. Eat, he said. We're not at war yet. It felt like a lie. Later that day, Alessio called Emilia to his office. The room was darker than the rest of the villa, wood-paneled, lined with shelves. A large map of the coastline lay spread across the desk, marked with pins. Sit, he said. She did, spine straight. He studied her for a long moment. How are you sleeping? Fine, she lied. Luca says he saw lights under your door at 3 a.m. She forced her expression neutral. I was reviewing your file. Patients like you don't come with simple charts. His mouth quirked. Flattery won't distract me. It wasn't flattery. Silence stretched, taut as wire. Finally, he nodded to the map. Show me where you think they'll come from. She blinked. The police? He arched a brow. Who else? You lived in their world before you landed in mine. Use that brain your father was so proud of. A twisted, bitter thing coiled in her chest. He wanted her to help him evade the justice she'd invited. Every instinct screamed to refuse. Every memory of her mother's lined face and her cousin's hopeful eyes reminded her of the stakes. She leaned over the map, keeping her voice steady. They'll start with what they know. Your old docks. The warehouse district. Informants, if they have any. Which they always do, he said dryly. Then they'll follow supply lines, money lines, associates. They'll look for patterns. She tapped a road leading inland. It's too clean. Too quiet on paper. No traffic, no history. Which makes it suspicious to anyone who knows you launder chaos into order. His eyes lit with reluctant approval. You're good at this. I'm good at surviving, she countered. When they get too close? He prompted. You disappear before they can prove anything, she said, hating herself as the words left her mouth. You move your men, your assets. You leave a ghost instead of a corpse. He tilted his head, watching her. You're talking like you've done this before. I watched my father chase men like you until it killed him, she replied. I know how both sides play. Their eyes locked, the air between them thickened. Why didn't you join the police? He asked suddenly. The question startled her. I heal people. I don't hunt them. Is that what you think you're doing here? His voice lowered. Healing a monster? Her jaw tightened. Keeping you alive isn't the same as absolving you. He leaned forward, elbows on the desk. Tell me something, Emilia. If the police stormed this villa right now, would you run to them or warn me? Her breath caught. Images flashed behind her eyes. Her father's grave, the burner phone, her mother's smile. Alessio's wound beneath her hands, the heat of his skin, the way his gaze sometimes softened when he thought she wasn't looking. I would run, she said. He smiled slowly, like a man hearing a beautiful lie. You're not ready to answer that honestly yet. A knock at the door broke the tension. Luca stepped in, face grim. Boss, we have a problem. One of our safe houses was raided. No arrests, but they were close. Alessio's jaw tightened. How did they find it? Someone's talking. Emilia's pulse raced. Bring everyone in, Alessio said coldly. No one leaves the villa until I say so. Luca glanced at Emilia, then back at Alessio. Everyone? Everyone. That night the villa gathered in the grand hall. Men lined the walls, shifting uneasily. Nino stood near the back, eyes darting, bandaged arm rigid at his side. Alessio walked in alone. He stood at the center of the room, hands clasped behind his back, gaze sweeping the crowd. Someone, he said quietly, is very brave, or very stupid. Silence fell like a guillotine. The police looted a house I paid good money to keep hidden. They didn't find much, which tells me two things. His gaze hardened. They're guessing, and they're getting closer. He paced slowly. I don't like rats, I don't like traitors, but I do like second chances. A murmur went through the room. I know the leak didn't come from here, he continued, because the only outsider in this villa is smart enough to know what I'd do to her if she tried. Dozens of eyes flicked to Emilia. Her heart pounded so loud she almost missed his next words. So I'm giving the guilty one a choice, Alessio said. Come forward now and your family walks away untouched. Lie to me. His smile was razor thin. And you'll learn how creative I can be. The room held its breath. Nino's throat bobbed. Emilia's fingers dug into her palms until she felt the sting of nails breaking skin. No one moved. Alessio sighed, disappointing. He turned to Luca. Stuck with the houses nearest the port. Pull in anyone who might have talked. Squeeze them until they squeal. Luca nodded once, understood. As men began to file out, tension thick and sour, Emilia caught Nino's eye. His gaze was full of fear and accusation. He thinks I told, she realized. He wouldn't be wrong. Later, as she checked Alessio's wound in his bedroom, her hands shook. You're angry, he observed. People are going to suffer because of what I did, she blurted, before she could stop. His eyes sharpened. What you did, she cursed herself silently. What I suggested, to protect you, to move your men, to tighten your perimeter. It will make you more dangerous. You say that like it's a bad thing. She looked up, meeting his gaze. You asked me earlier if I'd run to the police or warn you. You assume my answer will change with time. It won't. He studied her, something unreadable in his eyes. We'll see, he said again, voice softer than before. Hearts change under pressure. She snorted. I'm not glass. No, he agreed. You're much more dangerous. Glass cuts clean when it shatters. You. His gaze dropped to her hands on his bandage. You're all soft edges and hidden blades. Emilia stepped back, pulse racing. As she left his room that night, the burner phone felt like a weight under her pillow. She had betrayed him once. She wasn't sure yet how many times it would have to before either of them broke. The storm rolled in without mercy. Winds howled against the Moretti villa, snapping branches against stone walls, rattling shutters, shaking the glass as if demanding entry. Emilia stood in the medical room, sorting supplies, trying to ignore the thunder rumbling overhead like distant cannons. She couldn't focus. Not tonight. Not after watching the guards drag in 3 men from Alessio's port connections, bloodied, bruised, terrified. She'd been ordered not to treat them until Alessio interrogated them, and he would, ruthlessly. Her stomach twisted. This was her fault. Thunder cracked again. The lights flickered. Then, bang, 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 gunshots. Emilia's breath froze. Footsteps thundered down the hall. Men shouting, doors slamming. She stepped out into the corridor just as Luca ran past, gun drawn, jaw clenched. What's happening? Emilia demanded. Get back inside. Luca. He grabbed her arm. We're under attack. Her heart lurched. The police? No. He looked grim. Someone worse. Before she could ask, more shots rang out. Closer now. Too close. Emilia stumbled back. A stray bullet shattered a vase behind her, ceramic exploding like shrapnel. Luca shoved her toward a side door. Go. I can help the injured. You'll get killed. Another bullet hit the wall, inches from her head. Move. He dragged her down a narrow stairwell leading toward the lower floors of the villa. Heat built in her chest, panic rising. The storm outside roared like a beast, drowning out the escalating chaos. They reached a door at the bottom. Luca yanked it open and froze. 3 masked men were already there. One raised his gun. Emilia screamed. Luca shoved her behind him, firing twice, hitting one man in the shoulder. Another lunged with a knife. Luca blocked, slammed his elbow into the attacker's jaw, and grabbed Emilia's wrist. Run! They sprinted through the stone corridor, the masked men close behind. The air smelled of smoke. Someone had set part of the villa on fire. Emilia's lungs burned as they burst into the courtyard. Rain hammered the ground. Lightning split the sky, illuminating a nightmare. Bodies on the gravel, gunfire flashing like strobe lights, men screaming orders in Italian. And at the center of it, like a demon in the storm, Alessio Moretti, soaked, shirt open at the chest, bandage half torn. Blood running down his ribs. He fought like the devil had blessed him. Knife in one hand, gun in the other, movements impossibly fast. He shot one attacker, pivoted, stabbed another in the throat, kicked a third away so hard the man flew backward. Thunder cracked overhead. He looked like a king, drenched in war. Emilia stared, breath stolen. He wasn't human in moments like this. He was something forged in violence, sharpened by survival. Terrifying. mesmerizing. His eyes locked on her. Even through the rain and smoke, he saw her. And something inside him snapped into place. "Emilia," he roared. Her knees weakened, not from fear, from the raw desperation in his voice. Before she could react, one of the masked men grabbed her from behind, pressing a gun to her temple. Luca spun, raising his weapon, but the man shouted, "Move and she dies." The courtyard froze. Rain pounded. Lightning flashed. Alessio turned slowly. Murder in every line of his face. His jaw clenched, muscles rigid, eyes burning with something feral. "Let her go." The man laughed nervously. "Make one wrong move, and the doctor—" He didn't finish. Alessio fired. One bullet, straight through the attacker's skull. The man collapsed, dragging Emilia down with him. She scrambled away, shaking, heart pounding so violently she thought it would burst. Alessio was at her side in seconds. His hands framed her face, his breaths ragged. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head. He exhaled hard, forehead nearly touching hers. Rainwater dripped from his hair onto her cheeks. "I thought," his voice broke in a way she'd never heard. "I thought I lost you." Her chest tightened, then, a final gunshot cracked. Alessio stiffened, blood sprayed across her hands. For a moment, Emilia couldn't breathe. He had been shot again, right in front of her. He didn't fall, but his legs buckled, and she caught him, screaming for Luca, for help, for anything. Alessio's hand fisted into her coat, pulling her close. "Don't," he coughed blood. "Don't leave me." "I won't," she whispered fiercely, cradling his head. "I won't. Stay with me. Stay with me." Rain poured around them. Men shouted. The storm swallowed the world. But all Emilia saw was Alessio's eyes. Fading. Because of her. The police wouldn't have come tonight. The raiders wouldn't have risked this if she hadn't sent that message. This ambush was the first ripple of her betrayal. And Alessio Moretti was dying because of it. They carried Alessio to his private chamber, guards swarming, Luca shouting orders, blood dripping in a crimson trail behind them. Emilia's hands never left him. Once inside, she pushed everyone out and locked the door. Her voice shook, but her movements were precise. Scalpel, gauze, forceps, now. Luca handed her everything without question. Alessio lay on the bed, pale, shirt cut open, wound bleeding fast. A deep gunshot, near the liver. Emilia's heart hammered. Not again. Not like this. She pressed her hands against the wound. "Stay with me, Alessio, look at me." His eyelids fluttered. "You came back." "Of course I came back." "Thought you'd run." She swallowed hard. "Shut up and breathe." She worked fast, cutting away the fabric, cleaning the wound, stabilizing his vitals. Her mind moved like a machine. Her hands steady, even when her heart felt like shards. As she sutured the bleeding vessel, Alessio whispered, "Emilia, no talking. You're shaking." "No, I'm not." "You are." His fingers brushed her wrist. "Because of me." Her throat tightened. "You almost died. You care. It's my job. It's more." His voice was hoarse, dark, dangerously soft. "I felt it. In the courtyard. In the way you screamed my name." She froze for half a second. Thunder rolled outside. Alessio's eyes opened fully, burning with something feverish, something obsessive. He reached up weakly, touched her cheek. "You can deny it all you want." But the moment that man held a gun to your head, his jaw clenched. "I lost my mind. Alessio, I will burn every city from here to Rome before I let someone take you from me." A shiver ran through her. Fear, and something else she didn't want to name. She finished the last stitch, placed a fresh bandage, and sat back, trembling. He grabbed her wrist again, not hard, but with absolute certainty. "You're mine," he whispered. She jerked her hand away. "I don't belong to you." His eyes darkened. "You do. You just don't want to admit it." "Let me go," she snapped. "No. Alessio, no." His voice dropped into something lethal. "You saved me again. You held me like I mattered. You screamed for me. You cried." "I did not cry." "I felt your hands shake on my skin," he murmured. "That wasn't duty." Heat flooded her cheeks. Anger, humiliation, fear. She stood quickly. "Rest, that's all you need from me tonight." As she moved toward the door, he said it. The sentence that shattered everything inside her. "I know it was you." Emilia froze. Slowly, she turned. What do you mean?" His green eyes glowed with certainty. "The leak," he said softly. "The police getting closer. The ambush. The messages." He tilted his head. "You betrayed me." Her blood ran cold. Her fingers dug into the doorframe. "No. Don't lie." His voice was almost gentle. "I watched every guard, every man, every route. There was only one person I didn't want to suspect." She stepped back. Her heart thundered. "Alessio, I." He smiled. Not cold, not angry. Something worse. Relieved. "Do you know what your betrayal did to me?" She opened her mouth. No words came. "It didn't make me want to kill you," he said. "It made me realize how deep I've fallen." Her breath caught. "It made me realize that I don't want loyalty from you." He sat up slowly, wincing. "I want you." Heat pierced her chest like a blade. "I want your heart," he murmured. "Even if I have to tear down every wall you hide behind." She backed away. "Alessio, stop." He leaned back against the pillows, breathing hard, eyes never leaving hers. "You can betray me again," he whispered. "I'll still come for you." Lightning flashed outside. "I'll burn the world just to keep you alive." Her pulse throbbed painfully. She forced herself to speak. "I'm not yours." His voice was a promise of obsession. "You will be." Emilia didn't sleep that night. While Alessio drifted into a fevered rest, she paced the hallway outside his room, her mind spiraling. He knew. He knew she betrayed him. He wasn't angry. He was obsessed. And obsession was worse. Obsession didn't punish you. It claimed you. She couldn't stay. Not anymore. Not when he wanted her heart, her loyalty, her soul. Not when he could drag her back into that room with just a look. When dawn broke, she made her decision. Luca approached her quietly. "He's asking for you." "I'm busy," she replied. "Emilia." She met his eyes. "If you ever cared about what's right, Luca, you'll let me go." He stiffened. She held her breath. Finally, slowly, he stepped aside. "I didn't see you," he muttered. Emilia nodded, throat tight. "Thank you." She moved quickly, down the servant halls, through the storage wing, to the back exit overlooking the cliffs. The storm had faded, leaving mist hanging over the water. A small path led downward, steep, slippery. She took it. Every step felt like a heartbeat. Every sound felt like a warning. When she reached the private dock, she saw it. A boat. Small, old, but functional. Her hands shook as she started the engine. Freedom. She could almost taste it, almost touch it, almost. A shadow fell over her. She froze. Slowly, she turned. Alessio stood on the dock, bandaged, pale, bleeding through the stitches she'd placed hours ago, but standing. His eyes were wild. And broken, and furious. "Where," he whispered, "are you going?" Her breath hitched. "Alessio." He stepped closer, rain-soaked hair clinging to his forehead, his chest rising and falling with ragged breaths. "You're leaving," he said. "After everything." "You kidnapped me," she snapped, backing toward the boat. "You threatened my family. You killed my father. And I would have given you everything," he roared. "Everything, Emilia." Her legs trembled. His voice cracked. You can hate me. You can betray me. You can try to run from me. He stepped onto the boat. She stumbled back. He stopped inches away, close enough she could see every shattered piece of him in his eyes. But you don't get to leave me. Her heart slammed. Why? She whispered, desperate. Why can't you let me go? He whispered it like a confession he didn't want to admit. Because losing you scares me more than dying. Her breath broke. Then, gunshots exploded above them. Police. They'd arrived. Alessio grabbed her wrist. Come with me. Let me go. He pulled harder. Emilia, please. She wrenched free. Police swarmed the cliffs. Luca shouted, Boss, get down. Alessio didn't move. He stared at Emilia like the world was ending. Don't do this, he whispered. Tears burned her eyes. I have to. Then she said it. The sentence that shattered him. I don't love you. His face broke. Fully. Completely. For the first time, Alessio Mangetti looked like a man. Wounded, desperate, lost. Emilia. She stepped back onto the dock. Police yelled from above. Alessio reached for her again. A bullet flew. It hit him. He fell to his knees. Blood spread across his shirt. He collapsed onto the dock as the police closed in. Emilia screamed. Alessio. His eyes fluttered. He whispered something, barely audible. Come back. Then darkness swallowed him. 6 months later, Florence Hospital Cardiology Wing, Dr. Emilia Rossi completed her final rounds for the night and stepped into the quiet hallway. Lights dimmed. Machines hummed softly. Everything was normal, safe, predictable. She should have been happy, but every night, when she closed her eyes, she saw him. Alessio Moretti, bleeding on the dock. Alessio reaching for her. Alessio whispering her name with his last breath. She touched her chest unconsciously, the scar she couldn't see but felt every day. You're thinking again, a soft voice teased. Emilia turned. Nurse Sophia approached with a warm smile. Go home, Em. You've done enough for today. Emilia smiled faintly. Almost done. Sophia leaned closer. Coffee tomorrow? Maybe. When the nurse walked away, Emilia exhaled. She stepped into her office to collect her coat and froze. A single red rose lay on her desk. Fresh. Perfect. Beside it, a piece of paper. Her pulse spiked as she unfolded it. One sentence, written in familiar handwriting. You didn't come back, so I came for you. Her breath hitched. Cold fear and something hot and forbidden shot through her veins. A shadow moved behind her. Before she could scream, a hand covered her mouth. A familiar hand, warm, scarred. A voice whispered against her ear, low, velvet, inevitable. Ciao, Dottoressa. Her body went rigid. Her heart stopped. He stepped out of the shadows. Alessio Moretti, alive, stronger, darker. His green eyes burned with obsession and relief. You ran, he said softly, brushing a tear from her cheek. You left me bleeding on a dock. You disappeared. You tried to erase me. Her breath trembled. But I don't die that easily. He cupped her face with both hands. I told you, Emilia, you're mine. Her voice finally cracked. What do you want from me? He smiled gently, cruelly. Everything. He leaned his forehead against hers. And this time, he whispered, you won't get a second chance to run. Her heart pounded, not with fear, not only with fear, with something far more dangerous, far more inevitable. She whispered his name, barely a breath. Alessio. His eyes darkened. That's my good girl. He pulled her close, wrapping her against his chest, like he'd been starving for the feel of her. I'm not letting you go again, he murmured. And I don't care, he whispered against her skin. If the whole world burns for it. Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. Inside, Emilia's pulse surrendered, because this wasn't the end. It was the beginning of an obsession born from betrayal, reborn in blood, and destined never to break. The end.